Welcome to the Wingate Advantage with Brandon Wingate, your weekly source for smart insights on real estate, business, investing, and building wealth right here in Middle Tennessee. Now here's your host, Brandon Wingate.
What's going on, guys? I'm Brandon Wingate here with another radio show podcast. I am the owner and broker of the Wingate Group, real estate firm here in Middle Tennessee. I'm also an investor. I'm not only teaching these things to you and highlighting some of the things going on in the world and the system that we're in as far as business and investing, I'm living it as well. I do want you to know that. I've done this myself. I'm still doing this. Literally, when I come to you with these podcasts, I've been running all over the place. Literally, I run about 3 different businesses. So just want to let you know that I definitely have put my money where my mouth is, okay, in a sense. So I've got about 50 different businesses that lease from me. I run the Wingate Group real estate brokerage. I'm actively investing more and more buildings. On top of that, I've owned multiple businesses in my past, even in healthcare. So I've got a lot of experience in those areas. So I'm bringing you the content. I'm bringing you the economic lessons. I'm bringing you hopefully something that you can learn off of here at the Wingate Advantage. Tune in. Also, if you want to see some of the examples that I show, come visit the podcast. Like me and follow me on Facebook. Also, we on Facebook, but we're also on YouTube, so like and follow me on YouTube. I'll just keep bringing the content. So when we come back, we are going to dive into some content here, recap a little bit of what we did on the last podcast, some of the questions we answered, some of the things we might have learned, and then we're going to dive deeper into some more investments and go over the example of the real-life experience if someone about my age invested in a few other things, how much more money that would have made them by very simple decisions. So let's dive in. As soon as we come back, we'll talk to you soon. Hello, I'm Brandon Wingate with the Wingate Group, real estate firm at Middle Tennessee. I wanted to come to you today to let you know that there is a brokerage out there built for the success of agents. Are you tired of giving away a lot of your commission hard-earned commission, when you're doing all you can to serve your clients? Well, we want you at our brokerage because I'm here to help you succeed. We have a 100% commission structure. We have an awesome brokerage. We have the Wingate Advantage radio show and podcast, which is generating leads and business like crazy. And I want to hand this off to you. I want to help you succeed. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Looking for reliable property services in McMinnville? T&Z Property Solutions has you covered. From mowing and landscaping to junk removal and even demolition, no job is too big or too small. They truly make your mess their mission. With T&Z, one call does it all. Contact T&Z Property Solutions today and let the professionals handle the hard work.
931-743-9079.
It's Insecto Exterminators! Bug out, guys!
Got some unwanted guests in or around your home?
You can have this house! It's got insect exterminators for protection!
Call Insecto Exterminators today.
Insecto Exterminators has got you covered. Local professional service you can trust.
All right. So last time on the podcast, we had answered 4 questions. All right. Which one was real? All right. That was when I had the examples of gold. I had an example of monopoly money and the $100 bill. Also, I answered the question, which one can make the most money? So which one was real was gold. I hope you guys did answer that correctly or learned that over the period of these podcasts. The gold is a hard asset. It's a form of a hard asset, okay? Keyword, asset. And what have I said about assets? They put money in your pocket. They increase in value. Unlike liabilities, which take money out of your pocket or decrease in value. For instance, your average car, okay, decreases in value. So we want to limit those liabilities in our lives that take money out of our pocket, and we want to increase the assets in our lives that put money in our pocket and add value. The other example, your house can definitely add value to your life by increasing in value in itself. So the other one, which one can make the most money for you? If you were to learn this, if you were to study this and how it works and then take action and reuse it, I'm saying it's the Monopoly game that is so close to life if you really pay attention to it. It's that Monopoly $100 bill. When facing inflation, this typically doesn't lose value, okay? Between those three examples, this one doesn't typically lose value in an inflationary situation, which is the gold again. Which one can work the hardest? Well, that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, to explain how that $100 bill out of the wallet can work the hardest, harder than you can ever work. You can train it. You can train yourself to train that to do exactly that. We also discussed 3 steps to become financially free, not just debt free. We're not really talking about that, and I'm for that. If you want to become debt free and you feel like that is what you should do, I'm definitely not telling you not to do that. Do I think it's absolutely necessary to do that? In my own opinion, no, it's not necessary to do that. Now, it absolutely is necessary to increase your money management skills. That is the ABCs. Now, that can in itself can be used to become debt-free. But I'm really not asking you to do that before you invest. I'm just asking you to become more responsible. So, should you pay off your cars? In my opinion, I have definitely done that. I have been without a car note just about up to 10 years now. I am currently driving 2 vehicles that have over 300,000 miles on both of them. Could I buy, pretty much whatever I wanted to buy, a new truck, whatever? Absolutely. But that's not my game. That's not the game that I'm playing, that I'm referring back to as that Monopoly game. I don't make any money buying cars. Some people might if you're redoing them and reselling them, but that's not what I do. So I know that is a liability. I know, it gets you back and forth to work or whatever, but that is still a liability. There's no reason to go and purchase these new vehicles, lose money over and over again, float through cars like every other year. There's no reason to do that, because some people will say, well, that can be a tax write-off. It can be, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You still get the mileage. You get to count your mileage if you're running back and forth to your business and things like this. You still count that, whether that vehicle has 10,000 miles on it or 300,000 miles on it. So myself, I limit my liabilities big time. And so that's just an example of one way I do that. So, becoming debt-free, not necessarily something you need to do. But definitely, maybe pay off the cars. Do not rack up credit card debt. Do not make foolish decisions like that. Once you get that under control, you can move to step 2, which is increase sales skills and business skills. So, that's getting that side hustle. That's taking the action and getting the experience to increase your business skills. The sales skills is the most important of those, but you've got to take that action, get better at that, because that will also increase your income along with you becoming better at managing. A lot of times those businesses that you end up learning can actually become your full-time business. And then you have moved into the investor category, okay? This is the ultimate category that you want to be in. Because even when you're in business, okay, that is a great category to be in. But the investor category, you take those earnings from that business, you recycle that money that is being earned into a hard asset, a true asset, and maybe even an income-producing asset, then now you're reinvesting and you're compounding over and over again, and that rate of compound is incredible. We also discussed, about fiat currency, all right? We learned that this currency, there's nowhere to get away from it. 195 countries in the world, where do you run to get away from this fiat currency system that we're in? Nowhere. The entire world is on fiat currency. We learned with that system that I've been talking about, it's an engineered system, okay? This has been made to defeat us. This has been made to steal from us, which is our time, away from our families, away from the things we want to do. And so we've got to figure out how can we beat this system. And with that fiat currency, the governments love it, all right, because they can just inflate away the value of our currency. Okay, they tell us, we got to try to limit this at 2 to 3% inflation every year. Well, they're already telling you we're devaluing the currency 2 to 3% every year. That's our plan. Okay, and we've set everything in motion to make that happen. But what really happens? Really, it's a deflation or inflation scenario of 4%. That's the average. So it's more than they're telling you, and then sometimes that's even skewed a little bit, and it's greater than that. There's some years, we're looking at nearly 10% inflation or more. They have manipulated all of that, and it's completely controlled by the Federal Reserve, which is nothing federal about it, and there's not a reserve. They're the money printing machine, and the more money they print, the more our money becomes devalued through that inflation. They set interest rates. They do all this. They pretty well control that system, that engineered system I'm talking about is the Federal Reserve. The other part of that, we went over the fact that this is not taught in schools. I mean, how many of us have actually learned everything we're talking about here? We might have taken an economics class, but they still did not teach us entrepreneurship, really, is what this boils down to. They taught us to be employees, okay? They taught us to go work, trade our time for money. They taught us to basically help us survive by going and working and trading time. But what we're really doing is we're handing our time over to somebody else, the big boss, the big plant, the big factory, whatever we're working for, and we are a lot of times in a situation where they say you can only have 2 weeks a year vacation. That's the only good time you can have. We are basically slaves to the system in that way. Go to work day in and day out, work our tails off. Hopefully at that point, we can enjoy life later on, much later. And hopefully we have scratched our way to a job that has a decent retirement system for us or something. But that's the best we can hope for, okay? So before we start the show, we really dig into the information on how we can start getting out of this and showing you some good examples. I always like to go into the ancient book, read a scripture to you. It applies to what we're talking about, okay? So this ancient book says, those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. The reason I chose this today is because I want you to know, and the way I explained at the very beginning, I'm not telling you this is easy to do. I'm not telling you that you don't have to work to get here, because you definitely do, okay? You might even have to work that full-time job many years and reinvesting that extra money into income-producing assets or a business before you can become financially free. And it will involve that. And then when you are running that business, if you're not putting work into your business, when this scripture says those who work their land will have abundance, you can look at that as your land. Back then they had land and they farmed it. There are farmers today, and they know exactly what this is saying. But today, a lot of us, our land can be our business. It can be our investments. It can be the world around us that we are involved in and that we own or that we've started. That is our land in a sense, and we are to work it. And if we don't, and we try to go after the get-rich-fast schemes out there, those are mere fantasies. They'll bring you to poverty. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go further into these schemes and how we know if something's a scheme. You need to know, if somebody's giving you a sales pitch, or are they really selling you something that you should pay attention to? Are they out there for your best interest? And we'll be right back.
He's up there. What's that? Hawaiian noises. He's banging on the bongos like a chimpanzee. Oh, that ain't working.
Premium Black Angus beef raised right here in McMinnville. Hutchins Land and Cattle has fresh-to-freezer farm-raised beef you can trust. They also provide professional brush hogging, tilling, and hauling services. Quality, reliability, local pride. Hutchins Land and Cattle, serving Warren County and the surrounding communities one job at a time. Call today 931-314-9098.
Savage Samurai Martial Arts, in affiliation with Team Legacy, is proud to announce the Blue Crew. This is an after-school program that provides homework assistance, as well as tutoring in areas specified by the parents that their individual students may struggle in. Followed up by instruction in martial arts training, contact the school directly at 931-473-5425.
Come on in and see us at Savage Samurai Martial Arts.
Hi, I'm Mason Nova with the Wingate Group, LLC, your local real estate resource here in East Tennessee. Whether you're looking in Knoxville, Gatlinburg, or anywhere in between, I'm here to guide you through every step. You can reach our office at 931-474-2500, or you can contact me directly at 270-564-9117. Let's navigate your next move together.
All right. Welcome back. So, when we're looking for those schemes, the get-rich-quick, just a few things to help recognize when you're looking at something like that. And this rings true, man. I tell you, I've run into this so many times. If it sounds so good, it gets you all excited, and you're like, man, this is an opportunity, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You got to sit back and say, does this sound too good to be true? And if you can sit there and think, yeah, the probability of that actually happening is probably unlikely, be very careful. It is probably one of those get-rich schemes, and it's taking you or trying to take you straight to poverty. If it requires very little work, be careful. Because what I'm talking about here and what I'm teaching here, it all requires work. Sorry to inform you of that. If you hear no money down, do this with no money down, that is a real possibility. Really, those guys that try to sell stuff like that, they may have done that, but they're so far along in the investing career of theirs, they know exactly what it takes and when they can do something like that and when they should or should not do something like that. It's possible, absolutely. But if this is what you're trying to learn right off the bat and you haven't first gone through the steps of money management skills, business skills, and then you haven't stepped into the investment skill and have been there for a while and done multiple projects, don't get into the no money down. To fully finance something is extremely dangerous. And I'm telling you, most of the time, the loans out there for, say, flipping a house, building a house, buying a property, remodeling it, income producing properties, these properties are a form of a commercial loan. First off, they're higher interest, and you want to finance as little as that as possible. I'm not saying go in there with all cash because that's going to make things a lot harder. But my general rule, just so everybody knows how I kind of operate, I try to put my 20% down. If I have that cash and I know I can purchase it, I try to put the 20% down. And on top of that, all of the remodel that I do, I actually use my cash. Now, that does, in a sense, to some people that are out there investing, they're like, man, no, I wouldn't do it like that. But honestly, I know I have been in that situation where I've been overextended, and I'll tell you what, it's not fun, okay? It can easily happen. All it takes is a change. Look how fast the interest rates went up, okay, this last time. I think it was a record pace. Like, they went up multiple percentages within 1 year. And you can easily hold a property for a year, or within 6 or 8 months, you're holding and building or whatever a property. And you've got these interest rates going up, and the interest rates you're paying is fluctuating with that. And if you're 100% leveraging these properties, you can get in trouble quick. I just don't like that. And so I don't like, also when I resell the property, I got to pay off that entire loan. So makes me feel better to have, whether it's my own cash coming back or not, it just feels better to sell that property and have a lot of my cash coming back plus my profit. Be very, very careful with the whole no money down, okay? And we will get into that, leveraging property, later on, and we'll talk more about that because it's absolutely possible, but it needs to be done the right way, and you got to know when you can do it. As far as the word rich, okay, I don't like using that word. Nothing wrong with it, but that's not what we're striving for. We're really striving for something that's more like financial freedom, all right? Now, to a lot of people, that is rich. I don't blame you for calling it that, but there's a big difference because take me, for instance. I'm still working. I'm still working like crazy, but I'm not working for someone. I'm working my own businesses. I tell myself, yeah, I'm going to go to this special event with my kids, and I can do that and not have to get permission, okay? That is a form of owning your own time. You're still working, but you own that time yourself. You control that time. And that is a huge difference between you're unable to control that time and you're under the thumb of something else and you're trading your time. Somebody owns your time besides you. This is financial freedom, okay? Owning your own time. I'm not talking about sitting on the couch doing nothing, which could get to that point, but that's not what we're really talking about here. So you can completely, I'm telling you, you can beat the system. You can start a business. You can do so much more than one person yourself can do. Now, if you are a sole entrepreneur, you're the only one, okay? That can be pretty demanding as well, okay? Now, when I say business and the business kind of works for you, that 99% of the time involves other people, okay, besides yourself. Managing other people, providing a job for other people, but being that person that multiplies the ability that you have within that business because one man can only do so much. In the business world, that can be extremely profitable. You know, there are investments out there in stocks that can prove to be extremely profitable. They can even pay you back dividends, things like that. You can flip houses for sure. This can be extremely profitable. I know a guy, I was just talking to him before I came in here, flipped a house, made like $100,000, one house, okay? Totally doable, and that's life-changing if somebody does that, okay? You can develop land, just like when I mentioned the land I bought out in Texas, the very first show I talked about buying land in Texas. Yep, I told you, the nightmare story of I buy the land and the state of Texas sues me because they didn't want to pay me the value of the property because it had just become commercial property. I bought it as farmland, turned it into commercial. Some people just highly focus on that right there. But I got sued by the state of Texas. I had to fight them for 4 years, okay? Even in that nightmarish situation doesn't mean you can't get through it. It means it's a learning situation. You become better at what you do when you meet resistance. And when you're on the right track, you're probably going to meet resistance, okay? That is normal. That is a sign telling you you're probably on the right track. The big boys, they don't want you to get in. So they don't want to pay you out. So let's make it hard. Let's test him a little bit. And so don't get discouraged by that sometimes. It's easy to, but don't. I ended up winning that situation, and I got paid the fair market value for commercial property on I-35 in Texas. 10 acres worth, okay? That was a very, very good chunk, and that changed things from then on out, but it also, through that process, changed the way I used that money as well. All you really have to do is be informed, learn, okay? Go somewhere where maybe somebody's teaching this stuff, and you got to learn how to beat the system, all right? Second, you got to take action, and you've got to use the knowledge that you're learning, all right? And if you do that, just like these examples, developing land, purchase income-producing property, flip houses, if you use this knowledge and you realize and you wake up and realize what you're trapped in and that there are options you can take, okay? There are steps you can take to get out of this system, become financially free. Once you actually get a little taste of doing that and making that extra money, you can actually make more than you realize. But if you're just beginning, watch out, all right? There's wolves out there. There's sharks out there. You ever seen a Shark Tank? You don't want to go in there unprepared, all right? You must develop the skills first before you go too big, before you try to do, no money down, all these kinds of things. Watch out for the sales pitch that's just trying to take your money and it sounds a little too good to be true. You must develop the skills. You must put the $100 bill to work. You must know how to calculate your risk, okay? I've been told so many times through this journey, oh, man, I just can't take that kind of risk. I just can't take that kind of risk. That's risky. And it takes a lot of time to talk that person out of the fact that it's risky because you got to help them understand why it's really not. There's always a little bit of risk to everything. Listen, there's a risk to getting in your car and driving to work, okay? There's a risk to everything we're doing. There's a risk to falling asleep at night. Your eyes are closed. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who's coming in half the time, all right? There's a risk that your heart stops in the next couple of minutes because you've been eating bad, all right, from the choices you've made or whatever it might be. There's risks to everything. And when you can calculate that risk, what if that risk was actually in your control? So the next house you decide you're going to flip, you learned so much, you read so many books, you now can calculate what kind of risk you're going to look at. You have actually encountered a real estate agent that has your interests and cares about your interests and wants to help and is genuine in that way. You have found that realtor, for instance, and this realtor, let's just say they have some experience in this area, and they probably do. Either they do it or their husband does it or whatever the case. You realize this realtor's got some information that you need. They can definitely point you in the right direction. They can help you see the future. They can help you look at that house and let you be able to come up with some numbers. Maybe they even help you do that, to what remodel just might cost you. And then according to that market, they can say, hey, if you do this, this, and this to this house, and this is what I recommend you doing, then this is something that's actually needed on the market and people are looking for. That piece of information is extremely valuable, okay? So there are team members that I have talked about before on this show that is highly important to have on your team, and you can learn from them, and they can point you in the right direction. So that's just an example where you can literally help calculate the risk, and then you'll find out what people think are risky, and they look at you and they're like, man, I just wouldn't do that. You're like, well, they really don't understand it's not that risky. I can see my future from the knowledge that I have. I can see my future of what's going to happen here. But, if you're just throwing money at it, trusting someone else to be the expert, because even with that realtor, let's take for example, you don't want to go in there blind. You don't want to go in there not knowing what you're talking about. You don't want to go in there completely trusting that realtor, okay? Because if you have no idea what you're doing, that's risky, period. Let's not do that. That's not what I'm trying to teach here. The 3 steps, all right? And step number 2, become a better business person, become a better salesperson. And then step 3, be an investor. You got to learn, okay? This takes time. Trusting someone else to be the expert, that's risky. You know very little about what you're investing in. If you don't know much about it, then between those 2 things and you're just throwing money at it and hoping it's going to do something, you're gambling. And that's not what you want to do. Trust me. Okay? That's the fantasies. All right? And you will lose money. It's just a matter of time. So the only way to calculate risk, study. Take lessons. Surround yourself with the right counsel. Surround yourself with people that's done this before. Be careful of the negative advice that you will get. Now, take advice if that person has been there, done that, all right, multiple times, not just once, because you don't know if they might have went into something blind themselves and it turned out awful, and they're telling you, never do this, when actually it can definitely turn out good. They just didn't take these steps I keep talking about, and they didn't prepare themselves. They weren't knowledgeable in that area, and they took advice from somebody, and they shouldn't have, all right? So you've got to realize who your counsel is, what their history is, how much experience do they have, and have they actually done it themselves. Then after that, if you know you've got good counsel, you've studied yourself, you've taken lessons, you've gone to maybe some classes in this. You can find classes everywhere in certain types of aspects of investments. You got to take the action, okay? And you've done that, all right? So those are the ways that you'll become better at calculating your risk. Now, I want to make a point here, and at my brokerage, the Wingate Group, obviously, and I've said this before, the broker is responsible for building that brokerage from the ground up, setting that foundation, okay? And from that foundation, that broker should be choosing and knowing who is coming into their brokerage. That's what I'm doing here. And so I'm putting this knowledge into my agents, and there are agents coming on with me that already have this knowledge. And so they understand that we're out there for the client. They understand that we are not just here to sell something. We are here to look out for our clients, for their best interest. Right now, what's growing out there at the brokerage is incredible. I love the agents that I have right now, and I'm telling you, these guys are going to try to lead you the best that they can. They're going to give you great advice, and they are looking out for your best interest as a client. next week, actually, I'll have one of them here on the show, Joe Anish. I'm excited about it. He's got a lot of experience, like I do, in investing in different things. We're going to hear some of his history, and so you'll hear a little bit about that. But, I want to encourage you, check us out. If there's ever something that comes up, especially with investment property, commercial property, not just residential and finding houses, a person has to experience it. And you talk about experience. We've got some people there that's got some incredible experience to find maybe that first investment you might be looking for. And a lot of these deals and things, if there is ever a question about it, it passes through me, and I even analyze it myself. By the time it's analyzed and looked at the future and things, we can really help you find a really good place, a really good investment. First-time home, whatever it might be, commercial investment. We handle a lot of commercial deals. Some of us even own a lot of commercial real estate, like myself. I want to just throw that out there. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that scenario. We started talking last time about the saver and the one who also saved and maybe had a 5% interest rate earned, and what difference that made. We talked about that last time. We're going to go in a little bit deeper when we come back into that scenario. Talk to you soon.
Looking for reliable property services in McMinnville? T&Z Property Solutions has you covered. From mowing and landscaping to junk removal and even demolition, no job is too big or too small. They truly make your mess their mission. With T&Z, one call does it all. Contact T&Z Property Solutions today and let the professionals handle the hard work.
931-743-9079. Premium Black Angus beef raised right here in McMinnville. Hutchins Land and Cattle has fresh-to-freezer farm-raised beef you can trust. They also provide professional brush hogging, tilling, and hauling services. Quality, reliability, local pride. Hutchins Land and Cattle, serving Warren County and the surrounding communities one job at a time. Call today 931-314-9098.
It's Insecto Exterminators! Bug out, guys!
Got some unwanted guests in or around your home?
You can have this house! It's got Insecto Exterminators for protection!
Call Insecto Exterminators today.
Insecto Exterminators has got you covered. Local professional service you can trust.
Last time, we understood that the saver didn't get very far, all right? Just saving 10%, very responsible, had his finances under control, had the money to save. And we're talking one person here, okay, based on the average income, all right? They were able to save since 2002. Let's take that scenario. I'm 49. And we're taking the same kind of age group there. They started saving when they got married at 25 in 2002 and saved till today. And they were just so good at it, Put 10% back religiously as they increased their income along the way. They were able to save about $125,000. Not bad. But it's not life-changing. Definitely still out there working. Definitely still out there, trading your time, all right, for somebody else. Because that's not enough to quit on. Then let's take the next guy, okay? He decided, or she decided, to take that same amount of money and invest it in something like a CD or something. Very, very safe, not risky, and made 5% on average. Not too bad, actually. Very, very safe, though. No risks. What happened with that person, okay? They actually ended up earning about $100,000 more, okay? $225,000, $250,000, somewhere around that mark. And so, not bad. That money did work for you a little bit, all right? But even with that scenario, barely scratching the surface. Barely scratching the surface. And to tell you the truth, say with that 5% interest, that 100,000 is still going to get taxed. Okay. Unfortunately, that's something we run into every single time. So you got to keep that in mind when you go to cash that in. All right. So let's add a little something here. Let's just say the next guy or young lady decided to buy gold. All right. That's very safe. All right. We can buy gold like on the stock market, or you can buy gold, physical gold as well. Just order it. Every time you have a little extra money and whatever that ounce of gold might cost at the time, you just go to online and you find a trusted, reputable company. You look it up, just research them. Remember, don't do anything without knowing about what you're doing. But you can go on and you can find these companies like Money Metals. That's the one I showed you, and I told you the company I ordered it from. But they are reputable, okay? And when you have a little extra money, you buy that ounce of gold or that quarter ounce. You can buy even smaller pieces than that. Let's just say he did that along the way since 2002 to today. That's all he did. Stuffed it in his closet or whatever. It's safe, okay? From 2002, that 1 ounce of gold was $310 per ounce. Today, you're looking at a little over $4,000 an ounce. So if you're taking that money from 2002, 24 years, and he just keeps collecting, and by the way, you can take these pieces and go to a gold dealer and turn them in for little bits at a time when you want to, or a bunch at a time. You can pick when, investors are worried about the economy and they go rushing into gold. Now, I'm telling you, the richest of the rich actually still go buy this gold. So if they're doing it, you might want to follow. So they rush in, they're worried about the dollar crashing or whatever, and you'll see gold actually spike a little bit more than maybe it should be, but maybe that's time to sell, okay? You sell high, you buy low. A lot of times people don't even do that even with the stock market. Stock market starts crashing. What's the first thing they do? Oh, my gosh, sell, okay? Sell. So basically what you're doing is you're selling low. You've got to change that mindset, all right? This person has invested in gold all the way to today. That same $125,000 that was just saved, if they put that into gold along the way, now they didn't put that into gold in 2002. They incrementally did this over time. So gold increased by 1,246% since 2002. How would you like to have that return? That $125,000 just in gold would have been a $525,000 in value. Now we're talking, right? This is just a little bit better than even that 5% CD. Just go into gold, and you're still not risky. Not in my book. That's not my opinion. You look at the track history. You look at study what gold really is, how it works. Even just talking about the gold standard. Look how crazy it went when they went off the gold standard. Gold is a form of value since the Bible times, okay? King Solomon, well, you talk about all the gold he had. There's a reason for that. And if it's been that for that long, that's a pretty low-risk situation in my book. If it's held value for thousands and thousands of years, it's a pretty low risk that it's going to lose any value. Just going to gold, $525,000, okay? So now the thing is that increase is comparable to actually some of those stocks out there, some of those mutual funds that can earn this much over that period of time from 2002 till now. Some of those have even run pretty close to what buying into gold would have done. And we'll talk more about that along the way because, you're not stuck to just real estate. That's not the only investment. Is it very powerful? Absolutely. But there's other things that are powerful assets as well. And maybe that just is something you like better. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, the problem is about that gold, for instance, it did great, but, you get no rent from it. It's just sitting there. There's no dividends paid out. Like there's some stocks out there that pay dividends. That's almost like getting paid rent. But there's companies out there that send you a check for investing in their company, whatever extra they might have earned or something. They'll literally send you what they call dividends on top of you owning their stock still at the same time and potentially increasing in value on top of that. Gold's not doing that. There's really no leverage, meaning this can't really help you go buy something else unless you turned it in and turned it back into cash. Then it could. But in itself, banks aren't really, I can't go to the bank and say, hey, I've got X amount of gold at home and I want you to use that as my down payment. No, that really don't work like that. So there's no leverage to it. Tax depreciation, because that's something you definitely got to think about, all right? Taxes. Everywhere we look, taxes. So the more you keep, the more you make. And so you got to think about taxes as well. So there's no depreciation built into this like you would have in real estate, which can help reduce taxes a tremendous amount. And so because you're not getting rent from it, you paid cash for this. Let's just say you've got as much in gold as you would a house, okay? That full $125,000 that you invested, that was your own cash money, all right? What if somebody was paying you money back that helped pay that portion back? Let's just say gold increased to $525,000 from that $125,000 investment, and on top of that, there was somebody sending you money every month, helping you pay back yourself the $125,000 you invested. So that's like a double hit. Gold doesn't do that. Guess what does? So when you cash in this earned, difference in gold, when you finally cash it in, you are going to owe taxes, all right? You'll owe what they call capital gains, all right? Capital gains can vary. Also, depending on what you're investing in, capital gains can vary, all right? Gold, got to be careful with this, and you got to read about it. This is where research counts, okay, because you don't want this to catch you by surprise. So gold, the IRS can literally look at gold and treat it as a collectible. And when it's a collectible and you cash it in for profit, they're going to charge you 28% because it's a collectible. That's just the rule in the book, okay? So with that $525,000, that was about a $400,000 gain. If you take 28% of that away because you finally cashed it in, the IRS just took $112,000. That's a big hit, if you ask me. That sucks. I don't like that one bit, all right? And as we go on with this show, we're going to talk about other ways to defer taxes. And there's some pretty incredible vehicles. There's incredible, I mentioned loopholes before. And if it's there, the IRS wants you to take it for some reason. And so they want you to because you're probably contributing to the overall economic balance of the U.S. in some form or fashion with your business or investment. So they allow you to have these loopholes. But you're really not contributing much, right? If you're just piling gold up or buying gold on the stock market a little bit, is that really contributing to the economy? Not really. You're not providing jobs. You're not bettering lives out there like investing in real estate or even contributing to the stock market. You're not helping a company actually do better, okay? So there's just not as many loopholes out there that the IRS gives you for that. So 28% collectible, $112,000 taken away from you as soon as you cash it in. So that's just what we deal with there. Now, stocks, I told you some stocks actually ran pretty close to the investment of gold as far as how much it made you. And I said you're actually contributing to the stock market or to the economy then when you're investing in the stock market because you're helping a company become more profitable, which can add more jobs, which can produce more stuff for us. So they actually give you a little bit better tax bracket, puts you in a better tax bracket. So if you hold it long term, usually over a year, you can be taxed right now between about 15-20%. It all depends on what tax bracket you're in and all kinds of variables to this. And I'm not a CPA, and a CPA could definitely explain this a whole lot better, but I'm just talking to you from experience. But it can be between 15 and 20% for long-term capital gains, all right? Short-term capital gains, even in real estate, is holding something less than a year, usually a flip or something like that. And on top of that, it's usually got to be rented or something like that. So there's lots of variable there to both of the investments. And to be honest, maybe you would have come out a little bit better holding multiple stocks that gained, that kind of value, because when you cash it in, you were taxed a little bit less than gold was, which means you kept more of your money. Again, even with this, we have still barely scratched the surface of investing. But I hope and I bet by now you've already learned a few things. You've been enlightened a little bit. And so when we come back, we will go over a few more things. We'll finish this up. Talk to you soon.
Savage Samurai Martial Arts, in affiliation with Team Legacy, is proud to announce the Blue Crew. This is an after-school program that provides homework assistance, as well as tutoring in areas specified by the parents that their individual students may struggle in. Followed up by instruction in martial arts training, contact the school directly at 931-473-5425.
Come on in and see us at Savage Samurai Martial Arts.
Hello, I'm Brandon Wingate with the Wingate Group, real estate firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. I wanted to come to you today to let you know that there is a brokerage out there built for the success of agents. Are you tired of giving away a lot of your commission, hard-earned commission, when you're doing all you can to serve your clients? Well, we want you at our brokerage because I'm here to help you succeed. We have a 100% commission structure. We have an awesome brokerage. We have the Wingate Advantage radio show and podcast, which is generating leads and business like crazy. And I want to hand this off to you. I want to help you succeed. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Like I said, we're barely scratching the surface of what we're talking about of investments. But, really, a lot of us probably already learned, hopefully, a great deal about how some of this works, okay? But, for those of you out there that are already investing and listening to this podcast and radio, you're probably thinking very, very basic, okay? And it is. But look just from the basics. I'm talking the safest, the basic, still, you're just in like first grade right now, and I'm not saying that to put you down, but I'm just saying look how powerful this can be, okay? Look how much just a small, safe investment over a period of time changed the outcome of $125,000 all the way to $500 and something thousand, and you hadn't even hardly done anything yet. Just imagine when we go further into this, when we really start talking about some good stuff, like some of these you guys out there that has actually done these investments and gone further than this and are already flipping properties, investing in properties or stocks or whatever it is, how powerful these engines can be. And that there's way more to come, okay? And this can change lives, literally. So let me ask you something. Remember the question we answered last time, okay? Which one can make you the most money if you learn to pay attention and how it works? Of course, we talked about Monopoly. Which one can work the hardest for you? All right, we're learning how that $100 bill can work hard for us and just seeing a very small little bit of what it can do. Why am I reminding you of this? We are here to fight the fiat system that the whole world is in, okay? You don't want to stay trapped anymore, all right? Especially if you're young right now, listen to this. You don't want to stay trapped in this, all right? There are options. We can fight this engineered system And it teaches you to work harder, not smarter. We want to work smarter, not harder. And we want something maybe even for the next generations behind us, okay? We don't want to be trading our time. We want to control our own time, okay? We can't control the day we die. We know that. But till that event, we can definitely spend more time with our loved ones and the things we would rather be doing and control our time instead of just giving it up to somebody else. Going out, working hard, that's rewarding in itself to know you're a hard worker, to know you're supporting your family. But besides that, that's just not as rewarding. I'm telling you, once you actually start controlling your own time, working for yourself, starting a business, you get a sense of satisfaction from that. You actually produce something on your own. You planted that seed and it sprouted, That is so satisfying. You're going to find out that that's a little bit addicting, to tell you the truth. And you're going to want more because it's going to prove to be profitable. All right? We are here to not just save money. We're not here just to make that 5% and barely keep up with inflation. We're here to beat the system. We are here to win the game. All right? That is why I'm here on this radio talking about this, because I want you to win the game. All right? So, what is win the game exactly? To win the game is to create passive income through income-producing assets. So, when we come back next time, we're going to continue on with this message. We're going to have one of my agents here, Joe Anish, on the show. He's done a lot of what we're talking about. I'm excited to have him. You guys make sure you tune in. You guys also make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like and follow. I'm also on Facebook Live when this airs every Friday, 5 p.m. Okay, and it also repeats on Monday morning, 6 a.m. Also, you want some representation, give us a call, 931-474-2500 at the Wingate Group Real Estate Firm, and we can definitely help you find some of your first investments, your first home, and even for the guys that are out there that's been investing for a long time. We got some things for sale actually right now that is really good investments, and they're large commercial property. Give us a call, 931-474-2500. We will see you next time.